Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. So if you saw yesterday's video, you know that right now, as I am filming this, I just finished filming yesterday's video. Same clothes. So, same as when I mentioned it yesterday, Audie is in the bedroom, on the bed, getting a breeze on his tummy from the overhead fan, and I'm not counting on seeing him. If he shows up, great. If he doesn't, well, we're all just going to have to be happy for him getting his tummy cooled off by the fan. All right, we're going to break for the intro, and then we'll be right back. So before we get started, I want to show you some film that I took a while ago when I was packing up a package for Anne. And most of you know Anne because she is the Scotswoman who provides me with all of those wonderful pictures of Scottish castles that I turn into slideshows. So Anne had sent me a package. I imagine many of you saw that video when I unboxed it. Lovely stuff. I can't even tell you. So I sent her a package. Now let's take a look. For those of you who have not seen this before, this is my bed. It has changed a little since I last showed the bed on my videos. Up there, at the head of the bed, there are 6 pillows. There are 2 more down here, and there are 3 down comforters. And if you have any concerns about why there is so much fluffy, feathery stuff on my bed, I would say, yeah, I've got a cat, and the cat loves fluffy, feathery stuff. So yes, this is the bed I share with Audie, and this is where we're going to be working today. So we are putting together a box for Anne. And if you will recall, Anne is our lovely viewer from Scotland who sent me my favorite pair of gloves and a lovely wallet along with several other things in a parcel a few months ago, and I have been meaning to return the favor. But it took me a while to find everything I wanted, so let me start with this. And this is a scarf. And I'm just going to keep pulling this. This is a Doctor Who length scarf. This is a gorgeous wool piece. Anne's favorite color is blue, by the way, and this is a really nice, somewhere between a navy and a dark slate blue. And this is by Lanvin, and I'm sure many of you will remember that name from My Sin and what was the other one? Arpège, the very famous Lanvin perfumes that were so popular in the mid-century. But yes, and there's the tag. And this is a great piece. I was able to find this when I was off looking for blue scarves. I had hoped to get lucky, but I had not hoped to get quite so lucky as to find a Lanvin scarf, because they are in fact like crazy expensive. They make Hermès look like cheap junk you'd pick up at the thrift store. So I can't tell you how happy I was to have come by this one, because Anne's tastes seem to run toward the more simple and restrained. And I would have to say that this scarf, which by the way is so soft, is nothing if not simple and restrained. So let's get that in. Now, this is going into the box. And then because Anne sent a lovely wallet, and I am not to be outdone, here is the lovely wallet I am sending to her. Yes, I know it's not blue. Louis Vuitton does not make blue wallets, at least not that I am aware of. But this is their vernis, which just basically means varnished. It means a lacquered finish wallet. But the interior is blue. So this is the wallet I am sending her, and because she sent me very interesting British money, I'm sending some very interesting American money. So let's start with these. And these obviously are $2 bills. Yes, they are legal tender. For my friends outside of the U.S., yep, those are real bills. I swear they are. And they're just not in wide circulation, but they are certainly legal tender. I tend to get my hands on bills like this when I can because they make interesting gifts, you know, Christmas, birthday gifts, whatever, for children especially, because kids love them because they look like fake money, and kids love fake money. So we've got a couple of bills in our wallet, and of course, we're not going to go in half measures here. We are going to pop this into its lovely little case. Ugh. I don't know why I am so butterfingered today. This should be very easy. There we go. All right. And we have our lovely little wallet case. I'm hoping that because Anne likes blue and because the wallet is silver, that people who like blue tend to like silver, and the interior is blue. So, fingers crossed. Now, we're not through with our money yet. So, I've got a very interesting selection of U.S. coins to repay her for the UK coins. This is a Susan B. Anthony dollar. Let me see. I've got another one in here. Yep, there we go. We've got 2 Susan B. Anthonys. And then, because I'm going to make sure we've got the ladies covered, we've got 2 Sacagawea dollars. Now, here we go. So, Susan B. Anthony and Sacagawea. Next, we have some presidents. And this was a series of coins. And by the way, these are legal tender as well, even though they're not in great circulation. Let's start with George Washington, our first president. I thought I'd go with some people that she might recognize. Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president. And next up, James Buchanan. The reason for this one is because how Scottish is the name Buchanan. And yes, many of our presidents have been of Scottish descent, but Buchanan is the one with the very, very Scottish name. And next, we have this one. And this is personal. This is Calvin Coolidge. And my grandmother worked for Calvin Coolidge when he was governor of Massachusetts. He was governor of Massachusetts before he ran for the presidency. She had only been one of many secretaries in the steno pool at the State House when Coolidge was in office. She later became the confidential secretary to his successor, Channing Cox, who was the next governor of Massachusetts. But because my grandmother worked for him, I thought, yeah, I got to throw that in. And then we have a couple of Kennedy half dollars. And that's just because, like Washington, like Lincoln, almost everyone has heard of John Kennedy. So he won't be a stranger. He's one of the insignificant presidents that no one has ever heard of. So they are all going in a baggie and going in here. Additionally, I'm going to stick in some silica gel just to make sure that we are not in danger of having anything acquire too much moisture, which is not such a big problem here in the US, but I have no idea how much time this box might spend in the customs house in Scotland, where, yeah, moisture is a problem. So that is going in. I am going to fill the rest of this box with bubble wrap, basically, and pat it out, and finally, at long last, after many months, get this into the mail. But I thought you might enjoy seeing what was going to Anne, mostly because I showed you all what Anne had sent to me. And, well, gee, after my favorite gloves, thank you very much, Anne, it was kind of hard to top, but I did try. And hopefully she will enjoy these. And we don't have the same custom of putting money into wallets for good luck here, at least not in my ethnic culture. I'm sure there are people who do set a bit of store by that, but given the fact that it is a Scottish thing, we have plenty of coins that she can stick into whatever wallets she pleases, and hopefully get a whole bunch of good luck, as well as a couple of interesting items. All right. So, seeing as we all saw the stuff Anne sent me, I thought you might like to see the stuff I sent her. Anne has already received her package, so I'm not spoiling any surprises. But that was fun. I enjoyed putting that together because it was a bit of a challenge. Anne's taste is quite similar to mine in many ways, but in other ways it's a little different. Her preferred colors are on the cooler end of the spectrum. And that's, I mean, sometimes, well, obviously, sometimes I do okay with blues, but sometimes getting the blues just right is a bit of a challenge for me. So that's what was going on there. You are also obviously seeing the bed Audie is sleeping on. And yes, I go very far out of my way to make this comfy for him. So I don't want him sleeping under the bed. I want him up on top of the bed, enjoying a breeze on his tummy. So yeah, we'll see how long he stays there. When I started doing yesterday's video, which was all sparked by a comment from Madam Robinson that, among other things, covered prepping clothing the night before, I started just kind of falling down a rabbit hole because I needed to take a look at my own closet before I actually did anything, in terms of making yesterday's video. Needed to go through, take a look, just to kind of, refresh my perspective on it. I don't want to say refresh my memory. It's really more a question of, let me just take a look at this and see what the things are that I should probably point out. While I was doing that, I realized I have to get rid of some things in my closet. This, for starters. I ended up picking up several shirts like this, probably 2, maybe 3 years ago. And they served their purpose, but they are no longer serving their purpose. And now they need to go. They are getting too big for me. And you can wear a shirt, kind of as a layering piece, even if it is quite large. But at some point, it becomes so big that, you're worried about it falling off your shoulders. Or when I stand in front of the mirror, I'm thinking, this really makes me look very, very large. And no, thank you, but no thank you. So I started looking through the closet, thinking some things are just going to have to go. They are not worn out. They are simply things that either no longer fit or that I'm no longer wearing them the way I used to. I'm no longer reaching for them because I no longer really like them. So for starters, I do have to be very, very clear about this. When you put on weight, your style selections start getting constricted. Bigger you are, smaller your style choices. So I got a lot of things when I was heavier, not because I loved them, but because I liked them well enough and they were my only options. Things have changed. I have more options now, and I am not going to continue to hold on to things that are just there. They're in the wardrobe. I'll pull them out if I feel I must, but I don't like them. So if I don't like them, why am I keeping them? And that's what this video is about. Taking a look at things that maybe should leave our closets. For me, because it's summer, this is a really good time for me to reevaluate the summer portion of my wardrobe. Can I do this in the spring? No. Can I do it in the fall? No. I have to be right in the heat of the summer. Otherwise, I am forgetting about, how heavy a piece might be. Oh, I like that. That's a great summer piece. But then July rolls around and I'm thinking, oh no, I'm not going to wear that. That is simply way too heavy. It's hot outside and I do not want to cope with an item that is that hot. So yeah, that's like a practical consideration. Additionally, I have a lot of things in my wardrobe that deviated from my style choices. So, the fashionistas have this little trick they do. And I watch them all the time. And that little trick is choose 3 style words. Well, hey, why not? I'm not going to say I advocate this as a method of choosing your style, because I'm back to what our viewer Laura Wade said. Choose your freaking aesthetic first, and your style will just follow. But if I had to choose my 3 style words, and they're not 3, they're many more than 3, I would have to say 1, 1980s, because I do love 1980s. That was the time in my life when I really felt at one with the fashions around me, and I was happy in my clothing. 2, dark academia, because again, that is my particular branch of 1980s. 3, Ralph Lauren. And again, 1980s, dark academia, you can see there's a pattern here. They all flow in together. So, when I say 1980s, I am absolutely not talking about the over-the-top of like Joan Collins, or even the sort of eccentric but very cute of people like Molly Ringwald. No. I am not talking about the vivid colors. And gosh, to be honest, I did have stuff that looked like that in my wardrobe. And again, to be honest, I still have some stuff like that today. Now, I hope you all know that those vividly colored pieces that are in my wardrobe are all activewear pieces. They are the clothing I use when I'm walking out on the streets at the crack of dawn in my rural area with no street lights. And yeah, you gotta dress like Bozo the Clown just for safety's sake. So please don't think I run around the streets in broad daylight looking like that. But I do make some concessions for safety when I'm going out, before dawn. I just wanted to say that, because I don't want you to think that I actually look like that in the middle of the afternoon. There's absolutely no excuse for that, and I'm not sure there was an excuse for that back in the 80s. So, a lot of this sort of cleaning out the closet thing came from the experiment from last week. If you'll recall, last weekend, we talked about going through our closets and pulling out the items that we don't ordinarily wear. Well, sadly, I am a creature of habit, absolutely. When I wear something, that's one of the things that I wear. So everything that I wear on a regular basis, I was going to say everything I wear on a regular basis, I'm wearing on a regular basis, but that just doesn't even make sense. If I have things I like and I wear them, I am wearing them often. And because I don't have a lot of things, as you all know, I've been trying to scale my wardrobe down to something more manageable. So when I went in and realized some of the things, yeah, I can pull them out and wear them because they're okay and they still fit. But then at the end of the day, I had to ask myself, do I really like this enough to wear it more often? And the answer is no. So last weekend's little experiment with the clothing we don't reach for has taught me a lesson. The lesson I learned from this, and mind you, this is just me, your takeaway may be very different. But my takeaway is that the majority of the items in my wardrobe I love. I love them. I wear them every chance I get. And the ones that I am not reaching for are the ones I don't love. Some of them I just tolerate. Some of them I keep because I know I need to keep them. So, white button-down shirts. Yeah, I pretty much know I need to keep those. I'm not getting rid of them. Those are things that, yes, I will reach for them occasionally, and when I do, I need them to be there. We all have things like that in our wardrobe, the things that are not part of our everyday clothing, but yeah, there are times when we need them, and I don't begrudge those shirts, the closet space. The fact is, there's fewer than half a dozen of those pieces in my closet. So, yeah, it's not like if I get rid of them, I'm going to have all this extra space and I'm going to do all these wonderful things with it. No, I am not. I have a good-sized closet. I don't have to share it with anybody because Audie wears his fur coat with him all day long, never hangs anything in the closet. So it's just me and my stuff. I can do what I want. So can I say to myself, well, you know, the last few hangers on the rack are going to be things that I know I really should have. I am going to reach for them occasionally, but I'm not going to do it every day. Sure, I can. So the experiment wasn't about, let's get rid of everything we're not using. No, it was more about, let's figure out why we're not using them. What does it mean? So for me, 10 shirts went into a donation folder. By the way, this is how I'm doing it now. I keep pictures of all of my clothing. When I know something needs to be donated, I move the picture from my active wardrobe folder into this new little folder called Donate. That's where they go. And I'm going to let them sit there for a few weeks, not for an extended period of time, a few weeks, just to make sure that I'm certain about what I'm doing, that I'm not going to have regrets. Now, maybe I should leave them in longer, but ordinarily, once I make a decision, I kind of marry that decision very quickly. I become one with it, and I'm ready to move on. It takes me forever to make that decision. Once I make it, I usually do a pretty good job of standing by it. So for me, what I learned was that 20% of my shirts, 10 went in there. I had, I think, 50 to begin with. It's down to 40 now. And that's just the first go-through, the first part of the closet purge. I believe other things are going to end up in that donation folder, because now as I am looking at it, I am asking myself, how many button-down shirts do I really need? You know, right now I have like 3 in the range of beige to khaki, 2 whites. I got a new white, brand new, that stays. And so I'm looking at this thinking maybe I ought to move a couple of those beige khaki shirts out. Maybe I need to move one of the white ones out. How many white button-down shirts do you really need? The new one is a style I have been looking for a long time. It's in there now. I like it a lot. It's going to stay. It is not one of those pieces that I have simply because I feel I ought to have it. And frankly, most of my button-downs are in that category. They are that casual plus, you know, a little more dressy than just a regular, like, crew neck t-shirt. And I think before the smoke clears, 1 or 2 of those button-downs are going to go into the donate pile. And I will not be sorry for that, because my hope is that my donations are going to go to one of the kinds of places I used to make donations to. I used to donate to organizations that had names like Displaced Homemakers, you know, women going into the workforce after having been out for some time and would need a working wardrobe. So I'm going to start making some serious efforts to find an organization like that. And the simple truth is, if I can find one in the US, I can easily box up the donations, and the box of donations will weigh a couple of pounds. It won't cost that much to ship them, even if I need to ship them to New York City. So that's sort of my plan. But, gosh, I did ramble on about that plan quite a lot, didn't I? What I'm trying to do is take that learning experience I gained from last week's experiment and turn it into action. It's all well and good to say, I wore pieces I don't usually wear. And now what? Well, some of them are leaving because I don't wear them, not because, gee, I forgot about them. It's because I don't really like them. They don't fit my needs anymore. They are not closely aligned to my core aesthetic. They're moving me in a different direction. It's not a direction I chose voluntarily. It's a direction that was sort of thrust upon me when I was larger. Remember, I was large, so the clothing choices were small, and that's where some of these came from. Nothing was ghastly expensive. Most of the shirts that are being donated were in the $25 to $30 range, give or take. So, 10 of them go. It's overall, it's not throwing my clothing budget out of whack. Yes, it would be nice if the lesson hadn't been quite so expensive, because I think my donation file folder already has somewhere in the range of $350 worth of clothing. But And we've talked about this before. That money is gone. I have spent that money. It is not coming back. The clothing is no longer serving its purpose. It no longer makes me happy. It's no longer doing what I wanted it to do. And at this point, it's not just taking up space in my closet. It is reminding me of purchase failures. Because for some of these, I really didn't like them all that much when I bought them. I really didn't. So why am I leaving them in my closet to taunt me? The other side of this is I open my closet, and when things are way too big for me, I look at this and say, are you keeping this stuff to give yourself permission to gain that weight back? Is that what you're doing? And because we don't always know when we're doing things like this. Some of us are very much in touch with our crazy side, and sadly, I am not. Sometimes I will do some pretty bizarre things, and I don't understand why I'm doing it until after the fact. So I got to look at that and say, am I afraid that the weight loss is going to reverse? Am I leaving this clothing here because I'm afraid I'm going to gain weight? Am I giving myself permission? Am I saying, yeah, it's okay? Yeah. Whatever it is I may or may not be doing, I don't feel like humoring that because it's clearly crazy. And heaven knows, I humor enough of my crazies going in. I don't need to humor the crazies that are working against me. So I feel confident, reasonably confident, that by the time the smoke clears, I will probably have eliminated about 15% of my shirt wardrobe. It's possible I may end up giving up a few sweatshirts to that donation box as well, because I have more sweatshirts than I need, quite frankly, and maybe I should just, pass them on to somebody else. Someone else might actually get more use out of them than I am. So I have to think about that. But I'm okay about this. That experiment from last week worked. It absolutely worked. It showed me, what it is I have done in the past. I figured out why I did it, what the whole point of buying clothing to just fill a need, clothing I didn't really like. I bought another shirt, so I rewarded myself. I am a firm believer in if you do something good, reward yourself, So yes, I got a shirt that I actually do like, that really is my style. And yeah, got rid of 10 pieces, one went in. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. And I know, you're thinking, well, go, and then you come back, yeah, you're moving in the wrong direction. No. Because as long as I'm getting things I like, I can feel okay about it, as long as I don't take it to excess. So I'm good with where the process is going right now. And I need to take a good hard look at other things like the wish list I keep in my file folder. I need to look at do I really want or need any of the things in that wish list? I may have things there that maybe shouldn't be there. So I have to take a look at that. And it will be good if I can eliminate some things from my wish list. That will be good. But I think it was a valuable learning experience. I wasn't expecting this, quite frankly. I was not expecting. I had 50 shirts in my closet, and when you consider half of them are summer shirts, half of them are winter shirts, that was 2 dozen summer shirts. That is what I have to get me through like 6 months. That's not a lot. That is absolutely a minimal level wardrobe. It's not quite as, off the wall limited in terms of what pure minimalists are doing, but it's considerably less than I used to have. So it's not like I had a lot of stuff in there to begin with. Now I'm down to, 40 pieces, which is 2 wardrobes, summer and winter. That's 20 shirts per season. Can I live with that? I don't know. Because I haven't touched the winter things, and I don't think I'm going to. I went through my closet carefully in the winter, and I'm happy with all of those things. The summer is harder for me because with your winter things, you always know if it's a sweater, it's going to keep you warm. In the summer, getting clothing that's going to keep you cool can sometimes be a crapshoot. So, yes, some of the things that left my wardrobe were pieces that I thought were going to keep me cool and did not. So, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with where it is now, but it's a work in progress. And I need to stay more in touch with where my wardrobe needs to be. And at the risk of quoting fashionistas, my 3 style words, 1980s, dark academia, Ralph Lauren, if that's what comes to mind, when you look in my closet, then I'm doing okay. And that, by the way, is not like some sort of strange. I know, I make it sound very strange, but it's not strange. Let me show you some pictures from the 1980s Ralph Lauren. So, I don't know about you, but I could see clothing like this, in a major office and not even blink. I would not say, oh, it's somebody being dressed up like Lucy Ricardo or whatever. No, it may be vintage, but it's not weird vintage. So I need to keep that in mind. The next time I buy something, I need to ask myself, does this fit in with my wardrobe? Because the next to last thing I bought, not the white shirt that I love, the next to last thing I bought was a lightweight poncho, because I realized if I was getting rid of all of my sort of short-sleeved summer shirts that I was using as layering pieces, I had to bring another layering piece in to replace those. So yeah, I went out and found a poncho. Why? Because I have a poncho that I like very much. It does the job. It's not 1980s. It's not Ralph Lauren. It's not dark academia. This goes back a little further. This is something that I kind of took with me from the 1970s aesthetic when I was in my teens and early 20s, when ponchos were very fashionable, when I found oh gosh, did they do the job? Quickly, easily, no fuss, no muss. And if I have to choose a lightweight summer cover-up, that's it. So that is not fitting in with my style, but it fits my needs. And not everything has to nail that style down pat. No, it's a guideline. It's not a rule book. So that is where I am on this. Like I say, it's a work in progress. Obviously, I will keep you informed. I want to hear from you as well. How did the reach for the things you don't usually reach for work for you? Did you learn anything from it? Did you figure out why you're not reaching for those things? Are they things that need to go, or are they things you need to reach for more often? Maybe they should come closer to the front of the closet. For me, that is not what happened. For me, they're going out of the closet. But I would love to hear what happened for you when you tried it. All right, we are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. I hope to see you all again next time. For those of you who join us for Just Chatting, it's tonight, 8 o'clock New York City time. And we will hopefully see you next time. In the meanwhile, have a terrific day.